Check it out. This is the 2014 Volvo S60, a rival for the BMW 3 Series and Mercedes C-Class. Now the S60's never really appealed to me in the way that those cars have. It just doesn't really connect with me. But Volvo is fully aware of this, and it's doing its bit to crank up the lust factor just a tad. So if we're talking about lust, let's talk about the looks. Design-wise, it's okay. It's got a new expressive front end with what Volvo says are focused and determined looking headlamps, and it's got a wider grille with new daytime running LEDs. They've also made the front end cleaner by moving the washer nozzles out of sight under the bonnet, and the headlamp washer jets now fit flush with minimal clutter. The famous radar sensor cover has now been painted gloss black to make it less visible, and it has a bigger badge which it seems to wear with more pride than ever. Let's not get it twisted. Despite all the tweaks, this is still just a Volvo saloon. A decent looking Volvo saloon, but don't expect people to throw themselves at your crotch first, if that's what you're after. I am. I want the option, and this doesn't really give it to me. One of the great things about German luxury cars is that you get inside and they feel luxurious. I get inside this S60 and it doesn't really give me the same feel. I'm sure there's a Swedish word for vavavoom, but somewhere along the line, it's got lost in translation. Don't get me wrong, it's fine if you like IKEA. I just want something a little bit more special. One thing that really gets my juices flowing is the infotainment system in the S60. It uses Volvo's new Sensus Connected Touch, which geeks might recognize as the Parrot Asteroid system. It looks like a screen for the sat-nav, but it's so much more. It's got a load of apps including navigation, Google Maps, email, and a web browser. And I can search the internet for pretty much whatever. I can even load up YouTube and watch a video of myself while I'm stuck in traffic. All you need to do is connect a little dongle to the 2 USB ports in the glove box, and the World Wide Web is your oyster. One of the best things about Sensus Connected Touch is the sheer wealth of music you have on tap. You got TuneIn Radio, Deezer, Spotify. There are millions of songs. Literally every song you can think of is inside this car. And you can build your own playlists. When Volvo sent me this thing, they said, "What kind of music do you like?" And I went, "Gangster rap." And they built me a playlist of what they think is gangster rap. And they've done a good job. They got some Jay-Z, Kanye West, Snoop Dogg. It's fantastic to have that kind of technology in this kind of car. And with that being said, I think it's time we went for a drive. On the move, the first thing you notice about this car is that it's really comfortable. And I'm talking about that from a driver's perspective and from a passenger's perspective too. The driver's position is fantastic. It feels great. The seats are so comfortable, and there's plenty of room for like 5 passengers in and around the cockpit. From a practicality point of view, it's decent. The storage compartments in the door bins are okay, not massive, but there are 2 storage areas in this central compartment. In terms of boot space, well, that's massive, and the rear seats fold down really easily. On the move, there is really quite a lot to like about this car, especially the suspension. Now, it's soft enough to soak up speed bumps, but firm enough to stop the car rolling around too much when you're cornering aggressively. The engine, I'm not that keen on. This particular test model uses Volvo's D2 diesel engine, that's the entry-level unit. And while it has a lot going for it, it does 69 miles per gallon, so it's frugal and quite cheap to tax. It just isn't that powerful. It's got 115 brake horsepower and 270 Newton meters of torque, which isn't bad until you realize that that torque is only accessible between 2,000 and 3,000 RPM. In other words, it doesn't really give you that grunt that you need very often. For example, when you're pulling away from a set of traffic lights, it feels like it takes an age to really kind of spool up and go. Also, when you're overtaking, well, let's just say don't try and overtake. Being a Volvo, the S60 is as tough as nails. It's got more airbags than Katie Price's Surgeon and a host of active safety tech, including City Safety, which lets the car brake automatically if it senses you're about to crash into a vehicle or a person. The latest car even has cyclist detection, so it will brake automatically if anyone on 2 wheels crosses your path. There's also lane departure warning, cross traffic alert, which tells you when you're in danger of colliding with another object when reversing out of a parking space, and active high beams, which leave your headlights on full blast, dipping them automatically if it thinks you might be about to blind someone. The S60 is a really tricky car to rate. So much of it is brilliant. I love the idea of having the internet and Spotify wherever I go. I'm used to having certain luxuries at home, and having them in a car, well, that's just brilliant. It's not all perfect, of course. The styling could do with being a bit less bland, the interior could do with feeling a bit more special, and the engine, that could do with feeling a bit less gruff. But on balance, what you have here is a very good car. It's so good, in fact, that I would buy one. The base car with the D2 engine is $21,295, but I'd spend a few £100 more and nab one with a more powerful D3 or D4 engine. With either of those, this thing is a seriously impressive piece of kit that might actually give its German rivals a serious run for their money.
I'm sure there's a Swedish word for vavavoom.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line it's got lost in translation. Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right.
Go.
I'm sure there's a Swedish word for vavavoom.
No!
Alright.
Go.
I'm pretty sure there is a Swedish word for vavavoom, but somewhere along the line it's got bah! One more.
Okay, go. Oh, we got
I don't know what the Swedish word is for sexy, but I suspect it's very long and indecipherable to people who don't like IKEA. Now that's